Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, a couple of days ago, I had a video to talk with you quickly about how to loan players out for fun and profit. So, to give you an idea of how this has been working so far for me, I've got 84 players out on loan at the moment. Not all of them have been loaned out for profit, just so you know. There are a number of players who have salaries that are so high that, I mean, there's no way that we're going to get the other clubs to pay for them. But then again, we have a rich club, at least sort of still a rich club. Our financial status now is okay, so maybe you don't necessarily want to take my advice. But anyway, this is kind of what it looks like when you have 84 players out on loan. It turns kind of into a mess, and you just sort of let the game go ahead and get this figured out for you and take care of it. Give you an idea here of what this has looked like. We can go over to transfers and over to transfer history. And so ignore the 325 million renminbi of transfers in. You can just see here from the transfers out that we have had some players who have been out for total fees, including this guy for about 500,000 total fee, 255,000 total fee, and so on and so forth. This is kind of what happens when you try to balance things like this. We have sold a couple of players here as well, including Allison, who I really wanted to loan out instead, but he wanted to go, so he went. But this is what happens when you have the setup so that you're loaning players out and trying to make money on them. It can happen, and it can happen in FM23. If we just choose one at random, we can look at Dario Osorio. Who's a player who, where is he from? We picked him up from Chile and is worth 3 million. His what's his contract details at? So yeah, his contract calls for him to make 995,000 renminbi per week, which is quite a bit. We have him being loaned out to where they are paying, looks like about 10% of his salary plus another 40,000 a month, so another 10,000 a week basically, which isn't too bad. That's probably sort of in keeping with that estimated full value. And then, of course, as you know, the nice thing about doing this is we don't have to worry about playing him. We have so many players on this squad. We have so many players in the squad that if I were going to click on the under 21s, it would take like a minute for the whole thing to load up because there's like 200 something, right? So we don't have to worry about us being responsible for actually getting him game time. We can sort of loan him out, let somebody else give him game time. Take a look when he comes back, see how good he is, compare him with the rest of the players on the squad. And then if he's still not good enough to actually feature in the first team, we loan him out again. And if he's still not good enough, we loan him out once again. This helps a lot because we don't have to worry about him being upset about like missing international appearances because he actually has a team to play for. He can go bug the coach here at SC Cambor in Eredivisie and fill that out or figure that all out and try to make sure that he's a good part of that club and he will develop. Now there are problems, of course, with putting your players out on loan. I mean, you do want to at some point in time, especially if you have a really good young player, make sure that you pay attention to like what is the squad like, right? What division are they in? How are their facilities looking, right? What does their training facilities look like? So they have great training facilities. You want to make sure that it's good if you have a young player who looks like he can really do something. Now, the best thing that can happen for you in this situation is you end up with a player like Osorio and you loan him out once, then you loan him out again, and then finally, before you've ever even had the chance to play him, somebody comes in with a offer for him that's like huge money because they've seen what he's like on loan. They're like, "Oh, this is a player we want to go for." In theory, then, without ever having to play the player at all, you can make a huge profit off of him. In fact, if you set this up right, if your wages are a little bit more in line with that value, and that's not going to be the case here for us, unfortunately, but if you get it so the wages are more in line, you can theoretically have a player that you bring in, you pay basically no money to, you have him out on loan the whole time to teams that are paying his full wages, and then suddenly some team comes in and buys him off of you and takes him away. This is, by the way that you kind of want to sell players to. You don't really want to do the whole thing where you're offering them out to clubs because that will automatically depress their value. Other clubs know that you're in the market to sell and that they can give you sort of a lowball offer. What you really want to do do is you want to have players who are sitting around at the club who are happy, who have been playing well, hopefully on loan, because you don't really want them to go and raid your first team squad, unless there's an older guy you want to get rid of, whatever. And you want other teams to discover the player and then think that you don't want to sell them, and so they have to give you a really high offer for him. That's the idea, because if you can make something like that happen, then, like I said, in theory, you can get the other club to pay for his wages, and then you can sell him for a big profit, and then it ends up looking really good for your team's finances. Of course, like I said, you might not want to trust me because I've taken this sugar daddy total rich club and have spent them into the ground this off season. But that's sort of the theory. That's the way that I would approach this if I were asking myself, how am I going to take a team that needs to grow financially and make something interesting like this happen? And there you go. Now, remember, the loans have a lot to do with your team's reputation as well. It's easier to loan players out when you have a reputation and when there are teams on the rung who are below you, because then you have sort of natural teams that are in the market that would be willing or able to take some of those players off of your hands. So play around with it, but above all else, remember that there is a way to loan players out for profit, and that you should do this pretty much no matter what team you are. Personally, I prefer to never loan players in, only loan players out. That's just the way that I play, whether I'm a rich club or a poor club. Your mileage may vary, but I've had a lot of luck over the years with Football Manager doing these sort of loan deals. Highly recommend it. You can take a poor club and make them rich pretty quickly if you have a little bit of luck. Talk to you later. Bye.